Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting ready together, but unlike my typical get ready with me videos where I don't really have an idea how the look's gonna turn out, today I have specific direction and it came from you all. You requested to see the look that I was wearing in my Darlings and Duds videos last week, so that's what I'm recreating for you today. And the good news is it incorporates many of those items you saw in those videos, so you'll get to see them in action. If you're new here, special welcome to you. I hope you will hit that subscribe button, and welcome back to all of you longtime subscribers. All right, let's get started. What I did last week, and I did it again today, is I used the City Beauty Hydro Mask. It's a line smoothing biocellulose mask, and my face just feels so refreshed. Monday mornings, typically I feel just not ready to film, and I've used that now 2 weeks in a row on a Monday. My face just feels nice and cool and kind of tightened and plumped, so I'm planning a review. Stay tuned for that. And then I added sunscreen, so now I'm going in just with a little City Lips lip plumping gloss. Give my lips some moisture. For eyeshadow primer today, I'm using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Amplifying Eye Primer. You can use whichever one you have on hand. This one's pretty good. I would say it's not the longest wearing primer, but it is pretty close, and it is really nice and smoothing on the lids. The palette I'm using today is the Lawless the Baby one. However, it does not have a good brow bone highlight shade for me personally. So I'm just going to dip into the Too Faced Salted Caramel palette, this nice creamy ivory shade on the Sigma E50. And going to put this just along the brow bone here. And now going into our palette, I'm going to go in first with this shade. Let's see if I can give you the right names. This is Honey Child, such a cute name. And I'm going to use the Morphe M504 for that one. I am tapping off. These are a little bit soft, so they do have a little bit of kick up in the pan and a little bit of fallout, but not too bad. So this is a really pretty shade. I thought it was just going to be a boring old kind of camel brown shade, but you can see it just has a little hint of kind of some pink and peach tones. It's interesting. So I'm just putting that all the way through the crease, and these do layer very nicely. And then I'm going to just touch my brush lightly into the purple shade that's right below it. What's that called? Cherub. Cute. And I'm just going to very, very lightly, I mean really, really lightly go over that. And you can see it adds just a little more of a purpley pinky hue to that crease color. Then I'm going to take a Morphe M433 and go in with this shade right here. It's kind of deceiving on camera. It may come off a little more brown, but it has just a hint of some plum, and it is called Cozy Bundle. So cute. What do they describe it as? A matte amber cocoa. I would say it does have a little bit of some reddish hues. I always think of amber more kind of orangey yellow, but definitely kind of more plummy tones in this brown. MAC's Swiss Chocolate is close, but this one in this palette has just a little more berry in it. So if you have Swiss Chocolate, that's close. And I'm just going to kind of build up the depth here in the outer corner and bringing it through kind of the lower part of the crease. So I'm not taking it up as high as I did the previous shade. Just taking my time, making sure to tap off my brush. Okay, and then to darken the lash line, you don't have to do this step, but I think I did this last week because I was trying to use as many products that I was going to talk about. So I'm going to use the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Cocoa. And this is really kind of my favorite way of using these as more of a base for eyeshadow. So I am going to just kind of real quickly add a little bit of this along the base of the lash line. You can do this with eyeliner as well. The Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pens, those work because those smudge well. I'm just going to place a little bit of that there, and I'm going to take the BK Beauty 207, and I'm just going to really gently just blend the top edge of that shadow. And again, you don't have to do this step. It just adds a little extra kind of stickiness and depth for when you add your powder shadow on top. So, but if you do this step, just make sure that the top edge of it is blended out, because you don't want kind of a real stark, harsh line. And then we're going to go in with our palette. And now I'm going to use a mixture of this dark plum shade and the dark brown. So this is Forever Mine and Sweet Dreams. So going in with Sweet Dreams and then just a touch into the dark brown. And I'm using that same brush, and I'm just going to go right over where we put that caviar stick, and you can see it's just like instant pigmentation. And I'll add a little bit more of the plum shade here, and I'm just kind of sweeping towards the center of the lid. And then going back with the M433 and a little more of this shade and a touch of the plum, tap off the excess, and then I'm just going to further blend all of those colors together in the outer corner. You can see we just have like this subtle plum brown into like some pink, just a rosy haze. So if you're not into all out purple, bright purples, this is what I would say is kind of like a neutral plummy purple look. So one of my favorites. All right, now on the lid, I'm going to use a base shadow today. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. You don't need to do this step, but it's just something extra. You can see how it works. This is in the shade Rose Gold. And I talked about this as kind of being more of a mediocre product for me. Not that it's not beautiful, because you'll see it is, but it's really soft and subtle. And I just find that I use this more as a base for shadow to go on top. So it's kind of expensive to be used only in that way. You could definitely, though, use this on its own. It's very forgiving. It won't highlight texture. So if you have mature lids, you could definitely just kind of put a little bit of this on your lid, something through your crease, and go. So it is really pretty, but very soft. So I'm going to use that as my base, and then go back to our eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to go in with one of the shimmer shades. So I'm going to use this shade right here, which is kind of like a rose gold. This one has more chunky kind of sparkle than the one above it. So I'm going to now just put this right over the top of that Charlotte Tilbury. And I'll show you this. It does, I've worn this just all on its own without a base, and it does work really well. It's quite pigmented. So there you can see it. It looks a little more sparkly. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to now go back with my M433. I'm going to use just a little bit of Cherub, and I'm going to now just kind of use this to help transition that outer corner darkness into those lighter shades on the inner corner there. And then just take my brush lightly through the crease there. All right, I'm going to go in with just a touch of liquid liner. This is the Maybelline Hyper Easy liner in Pitch Black. And I'm just going to use a little bit of this just really close to the lashes, just to make them look a little thicker, and give myself just a tiny little bit of a flick here in the outer corner. Right on the lower lash line, I'm going to put just a little bit of the Buxom Hold the Line liner just into the roots of my lashes here. If you saw my mascara video, you'll know this is kind of my version of lining the waterline. I don't like to go all the way across just because I feel like it's a little less harsh this way, and keeps it off my contacts too. So this is the shade, what is it? Here's my number. And then I'm going to use the Urban Decay 24/7 pencil in Tiger's Eye. This is such a pretty, just sparkly kind of taupey mauve color. And now we'll set all of that with some powder shadows. I'm going to use the Morphe M432 and go back to our palette. I'm going to go first with the kind of darker outer corner color. Let's see, what is that? Cozy Bundle. And I'm going to first go on top of the lashes, just kind of press the shadow and that liner in. And then I'll take a little bit more of that shadow and go underneath and just press that brush right into the roots of the lashes there in the outer corner. And then I'll take just a touch of this shimmer shade. I'm going to go just right kind of in the center part of the lid. Just adds a little bit of light catching sparkle there on the lower lash line. Now I'm just going to clean up under the eyes with a little bit of almond oil. Now I'm going in with the Stila One Step Correcting and Brightening Serum. I really have been enjoying this stuff. It only takes a tiny bit, has a little bit of correcting, color corrector, but then it also has just this wonderful cooling serum and a lot of good ingredients that's supposed to do amazing things, but I just think it feels so good and refreshing under the eyes. All right, now while that sets and before I go in with foundation, I'm going to use a little bit of the Hollywood Flawless Filter. You can use this under foundation, mixed in your foundation instead of foundation. I have the shade number 2. This was a new shade and I just, oh, this stuff is so pretty. It doesn't have any sparkle. And it does come in different shades. So my summertime shade I used was number 4, but recently picked up number 2. And I just love how this looks under and over makeup. And as you can see, I don't put it all over my face. Now, if you have dry skin, you could just slather this on and you'll love it. I don't have dry skin, so I have to be pretty strategic with where I put it, but you can see it just adds light in those sections. It's so pretty. All right, now for foundation, I used the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better. I have the shade Medium Warm 32. It's a little dark. So I'm gonna mix in a little bit of the LA Girl Pro Color foundation mixing pigment, and it's just white. So this is a great tip if you struggle with foundations just being a little dark, or if you're like me, you have more tan look to your skin in the summer than the winter. This is a great option. So you don't have to purchase a new shade of foundation every season. Okay, I think I got about the right shade. So I'm going to just dab a little bit of this on, and I used, it doesn't take a lot of this foundation. So in my review, I tell you more details. I'm going to use the KVD foundation brush. This is number 10. I really like this brush. It's really soft and kind of makes quick work of blending in foundation, especially these thinner foundations. And then what I like to do with this foundation is go over just a few spots where I want a little extra coverage or I have enlarged pores. and I just press in. So this brush is just kind of a weird shape, but it has just really nice, soft, dense bristles that you can just kind of press your foundation in and add a little extra coverage in certain areas that you need to. All right, and then before I scare you all away, let's get some concealer on these dark under eye circles. This is the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Concealer in 10 Light. And I do really feel like this is kind of medium coverage, borderline full. So it's not quite 100% full, but it's pretty close. With this concealer, I just kind of like to get it started being blended in with a brush. This is just a Sedona Lace 224. So I just kind of spread it out, kind of tap it in, and then finish pressing it in with my finger. So you can see it did a pretty good job. I still have a little bit of darkness right there. So I'm just going to go back and add a tiny little bit right there. I also like to just add a little bit below the eye socket just to kind of help blend it into my foundation here. For blush, I'm going to use a combination of two of the Daniel Sandler watercolor blushes in the color Angel and Divine. Divine is really pretty, but really pigmented. Actually, all of these are really pigmented, but it was a little brighter pink, or rose, I should say. There it is. So I just wanted to kind of neutralize it a little bit. So I used a little bit of Angel. And then I just take this Luxe tapered highlighter brush and I swirl it on the back of my hand, mix it all, blend it out here first, and then apply to the cheeks. And I'm just kind of doing a dabbing motion, and I mean, just look how pretty. And these just blend seamlessly into the skin, and they are very pigmented. So tiny little bit goes a long way. And this is why it's recommended to just start on the back of your hand first, and you don't end up with clown cheeks and going, oh no, what do I do now? So you can see, I mean, that's quite a lot of color. We're going to add powder and all that stuff, so I'm not worried. All right, because this foundation is a very dewy foundation for me personally, I need a really good powder, and I love the Becca Hydra Mist powder, especially for just it. Not only, it does have water in it, so it's not drying, but it really makes the skin look flawless. So I'm going to use this ColourPop Powder Puff, and I am going to go in and powder my face, and I like to just press this powder in. Don't worry, we'll end up with plenty of glow later. For bronzer, I'm using the Laura Geller Baked Bronze and Brighten Medium, and I talked about this, how it really reminds me of the Sweetie Pie bronzer from Too Faced. This is the BK Beauty 103 brush. The Sweetie Pie bronzer is apparently no longer available. I'm very sad about that because that is beautiful. This one though, the color is very similar. It is more, well, this medium shade at least, it's more of a pinky bronze. It doesn't have the glow that the Sweetie Pie bronzer has, but otherwise the color and just how it looks on the skin is very similar. Now, because it is more of a pinky bronze, it's really not a good contouring shade. So I'm going to go into the It Cosmetics It Girl Beauty Book. Again, this is just what I did for that video. You don't have to use all of these same products, but just want to show you each one that I used. I'm going to go into kind of the bottom part of this bronzer. This color is Honey Glow. I'm going to use the F05 from Sigma, and just doing a tiny little bit of contouring with that shade. And I know I've had requests to do a look with just this It Girl Beauty book, and I am planning to do that, so stay tuned for that. But this will give you just kind of a sneak preview of one of my favorite products in this beauty book this year. A little bit of nose contouring with that same bronzer. And then for highlighter, I'm going to go in with the Dandelion Twinkle. Now this is another one of those really interesting highlighters. It's super soft and smooth, but it does, if you look really close on like the back of your hand, you can see maybe a tiny little bit of some sparkle, but it's nothing really chunky. But I just think it looks so pretty on the skin. All right, for brows, this is a big time fail. I was going to show you another demo of the brow stencils, but I already have my foundation on. So hang tight. I'll do it in the next tutorial, I promise. But today I'm just going to quickly fill in with IT Cosmetics Brow Power, and I just have a universal taupe. And then I'm just adding a little bit of the Thrive Cosmetics Instant Brow Fix, just to add a little texture and color to the hairs, my brow hairs. I haven't dyed them in a while, so I really need a brow gel when I haven't dyed my brows. All right, before adding mascara and our lip color, we're gonna go back to the palette and go in now with this shade. I absolutely love this shade. It's like the perfect inner corner highlight, using a Sigma E30. And I'm going to now use this to brighten the inner corner. And what I love to do in this step is you can use this to just kind of bring it onto the lid, and it just kind of lightens up the look. So if you get a little carried away with your lid color and you want to add a little more brightness back to it, just take a nice soft shimmer shade, pull that onto the lid, and you'll look a lot more awake. Time for some mascara. Now I am going to fast forward through this because I just did a mascara video, but I'm going to use the same mascara combination I use in there. First curl them, and then I use the Underwear for Lashes by Origins, the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, and then on the lower lashes I use the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions. And if you think that's excessive, watch that video. You'll see why I do all of those. Okay, one step I forgot before I add my mascara is I need to add the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This is a must with that foundation, or else it will not last more than a few hours on my skin. So I'm going to spritz my face before I add mascara. Now we can add mascara. Okay, just removed the excess gloss. Now we are going to go around the edge of the lips with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. For lip liner, I am going to do a combination of two. It's the regular Pillow Talk and the Pillow Talk Intense. So going in mainly with Pillow Talk. And then because I knew this was just a little bit too warm of a pink tone for the lipstick I wanted to use, and I wanted just a little more depth, I went in with Pillow Talk Intense, just very lightly. And now going in with the Charlotte Tilbury Dance Floor Princess. This is the Hot Lips 2. You can buy refillable cartridges. And then final step for the lips, I used a little bit of the Huda Lip Strobe in Ritzy. And here's our finished look. And even though I styled my hair differently and I have a different sweater on, it is pretty much the same makeup as last week. So hopefully those of you who were curious how I did my eyes or how I accomplished my kind of smooth skin look, hopefully today's video helped you. The two additional important elements to making that foundation work for me personally were the Becca Hydra Mist Powder and the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. With that combination, this foundation will last for me about 8 to 9 hours without touch-ups and actually still look good. I'll get more dewy and glowy as the day goes on, but it won't completely fall apart. So if you've struggled with this foundation, try adding those other two products and see if that helps. Also, for those of you who were curious to see this Lawless palette, this little baby in action, hopefully you enjoyed seeing how it worked, how I pulled this look together. I really do love this. It is that smaller size, so you don't have so many shadows to be overwhelmed by, and they are neutrals, but they have a slight little different twist, and I think that's why I love it. Sometimes for me personally, I find neutral palettes boring. This one definitely has enough unique kind of shades in here to keep it more interesting. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I love this so much. But overall, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you missed my Darlings and Duds videos from last week, I will link those up here in the cards and also in the description box below, along with all of the products that I used in today's video. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave, and I'll see you next time. Bye.